board's administration is. We keep throwing good money after bad, and the root of the problem is the administration. And it's the same way here with the Bartow Board of Education. Where is the transparency so that voters and taxpayers know how their money is being used, and without a report on exactly how the money will be used, we cannot intelligently address all the aspects of this decision to increase our school taxes. We need and want accountability. Without it, we are being taxed without representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are all it has to follow the board of signature.
This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this public hearing.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, if you raise your hand, please. It's 4-0. This time I'll call to order our called meeting for the purpose of addressing the millage rate resolution. You have the resolution before you, Dr. Harper.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, before you vote, I've over the last few months given information to this board and to the community with regard to what we've been doing in Bartow County School System with regard to our finances and the revenue that the taxpayers have given us locally and what the state has given us. And I'd like to take a few minutes just to review that and maybe answer some of the questions of the visitors that are here. But looking back at 2003, Mr. Chairman, we had 12,599 students. Our funding at that time from the state was $55,611,857. The austerity reduction at that time was $1,203,000. In 2014, our student population was 13,936. Our state funding was $57,196,349. That's $2 million more from 2003 to 2014. The austerity reduction went from in 03 of $1 million to 14 of $9,307,000. Certainly in the course of the years between 13 and 14, that austerity reduction was certainly greater. The state began the austerity reduction in 2003 because the state was in financial peril. It had many months of positive economic growth, and they had to stop calling it austerity reduction and now call it limited performance adjustment because the state was not in austere situations. Since 2003, the Bartow County School System has lost over $50 million in austerity reductions, which is now known as amended performance adjustment. The amended performance adjustment for 2015 school year, the amount of money that the Bartow County School System was to receive, according to QBE formula, was reduced by $6,479,639. Mr. Chairman, that's over 3 mills in funding. Looking at equalization, I go back to 2004. Georgia places school systems in a numerical order of the richest to the poorest. Those in the top 25% do not receive equalization funds. We're not in the top 25%. We're currently the 96th wealthiest or poorest system in the state of Georgia. Equalization for 2004 was $7,287,000. In 2015, that number is $4,015,000. You can see the reduction of, again, funding for Bartow County School System. In 2007, classified insurance was $162.72 per employee. We have 673 of those classified employees. In 2015, this next school year, this board is asked to pay $596.20 per classified employee. That is a $291,732.04 addition per month for this school system that we're being required to pay. In 2006, teacher retirement was 5% charge for certified employees. The employee part was 9.24%. In 2015, the teacher retirement system now charges Bartow County system 6% per certified employee. And the employee portion of that is 13.15% per employee. Millage rates. I've stated, and it's been called to question, 133 systems out of 180 systems increased their rate rate, which demonstrates that those systems, like us, have received less state revenue and had to go to the local taxpayer to support their system. In 2003, our millage rate was 19.20. In 2007, it was 18.38. In 2008, it was 17.90. I'm the superintendent that recommended the reduction from 18.38 to 17.90. That 2008 rate has remained with us for the past 7 years. It was the right thing to do because we received, audience listen very carefully, $74,389,000 in state funding. Last year, we received $57 million in state funding. Had I known the state revenue would decrease to our current level, I might not have been so quick to reduce our rate. In 2008 and 2009, we received over $39 million in local funding compared to the $37 million we currently receive. Not only has the state reduced the total revenue of the school system in Georgia, they have reduced the amounts of funding in some areas vital to our students as well. Nursing support has reduced in order for our schools to maintain our current level of nurses. Cost of local taxpayer is over $500,000 annually. I don't support cutting nurses. They're very valuable to our students. We reduced nursing support at high school level several years ago, but with the level of medication and health care support required to give it our students, we can all agree this is an extremely important service to our students. Another area of specific funding reduction by the state is the area of transportation. The local taxpayers support this vital service at the cost of over $5 million annually. I believe the Constitution of Georgia is correct. They're supposed to support the school systems in Georgia. Taxpayers, you're paying over $5 million annually to transport your children to our schools. We have significantly reduced our spending to support our students and staff. We have eliminated programs. The direction of this board was to make reductions across the system. We saw a couple programs that we could eliminate. Spanish at the middle level, not happy about it. Driver's education at the high school level, didn't want to do that either. The state passed regulation requiring a portion of each speeding ticket to be used to support the program, and over $800 million was collected and not spent on driver's education. High schools in the state of Georgia received none of that money. It went into the Georgia State General Fund. We have cut staff, certified staff, associate superintendent, elementary curriculum coordinator, director of student services, middle school curriculum coordinator, CTE coordinator, 2 special education coordinators, director of school improvement, RTI SST coordinator, 2 school social workers, very badly needed in this day and time. Speech language pathologist, STARS pre-K principal, assistant school nutrition director, Title IX coordinator, testing/assessment coordinator. Board members and audience, most of those job duties and responsibilities were passed on to someone else who already had a full-time job. Classified employees, curriculum administrative assistant in secondary, instruction and facilities administrative assistant, accounting clerk, front desk receptionist, director of construction, human resources specialist, special education clerk, 2 technology network specialists, bus mechanic, maintenance coordinator, 2 central office custodian, 2 school resource officers, courier, contracted tribunals, 5 bus drivers. We currently have 76 classified employees through a staffing agency to reduce our cost for benefits of these employees, which is a significant savings to this school system. Furloughed both certified and classified staff at significant levels. Starting in 2010, all teachers received 3 furlough days. 236 staff members received 3 furlough days. In 2011, teachers received 5 furlough days. 236 also received 5 furlough days. 2012, teachers received 5 furlough days. 236 staff also 5 furlough days. In 2013, we raised that number. We moved teachers to 7 furlough days. 236 staff became 231 with 5 furlough days and 5 reduced staff days. We couldn't call those furlough days any longer because we've been furloughed so long that 236 are full-year employees. The state required us to now call them reduced staff days. Board members and audience, that means we weren't paying TRS on those 5 days, those of us who got cut. 2014, teachers went from 7 furlough days to 5. I increased it. They needed it. It was important to them. In 2014, 231 staff, 5 furlough days. The 3 furlough days was still having the 5 reduced staff days. In 2015, teachers will have 5 furlough days, 231 staff, 3 furlough days, and 5 reduced staff days. Our staff have worked hard, they've done their share, they've sacrificed a lot of their salary in the process. We have savings in the following areas: decreased purchasing textbooks from the general fund, consumables and services have been reduced, we've decreased field trips, we've eliminated outside costs for document storage, alternative school costs have been reduced significantly, savings from direct deposit for payroll, substitute placement software savings of over $100,000 a year. Over the past few years. Board members and audience, I believe we've done our part as a school system to control spending and reduce cost. And I cannot ask our staff to continue to shoulder the burden of the reduction in state funding. Let me be clear, the reduction in state funding. It's been significant. I recommended a millage increase of 1.5 mils for our students, staff, and programs and services. When greater revenue is provided by the state, I will recommend a reduction in the millage just as I have done in the past. 1.5 mils to $100,000 home is a $40 a year increase. Board members and Mr. Chairman, that is my continued recommendation to you this evening.
You've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Do I hear a motion to approve that recommendation?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a few comments, and you know, there's no doubt in my mind there's been cuts done over the year, and I've been on the, I guess, board a little over a year and a half. But the one thing that concerns me is I think we're like the federal government in some ways. I think it's time that we have a balanced budget policy where our budget has to be balanced and where we have a certain fund reserve at some point in time, even if we have to do some kind of gradual get to it. Because the reality is, I think we're gaining, what, about 3 million? Was that correct? Somewhere
Yes.
plus or minus, I won't hold you that figure. But when you're still spending at a 2 million deficit, we're counting a lot on the growth, and I know there is growth coming. Last year, when I was called by one of the board members to please vote for adding the days back, I was told this year we'd start with a $7 million fund. Well, we didn't. So I don't know. I just have concerns. I mean, last year and this year, and I'm not sure the value of it because I haven't said it on, but traditionally, there's been a budget retreat where we discuss these things, you present these things, and we can go over it and hash it as much in my mind, but in reality, it may not happen that way. But I just feel like we've had one meeting where we presented, you made a great presentation. You know, I'll give you that, and you made another great one here. But, you know, in hearing a lot of people speak, and I'll just only pick on just a couple, so I won't, for the sake of time, but one of the ladies that was in favor of the increase, she was talking about 37 students in the classroom, and I feel that pain, and I would like to talk about it, how we can do to reduce that. But this tax increase doesn't take care of that. It sounds like this is just more to have in our fund balance, so we're not really helping there. We had another one on the next day that was in favor of the increase, and he was talking about the money. He had, I remember right, about 6,000, now they're down to 300, but this doesn't affect that. I mean, this seems like what we're doing is to maintain status quo, and just a quick count. You know, I saw there was 5 in favor of, 18 against, and then 3 were kind of talking on the MOVs, were kind of for us, want to work with us if we spend it right, that kind of thing. And just in good conscience, and until I feel like we've really looked at, because one of the major things the state says is our responsibility is the strategic plan, and then have a budget to go to that plan. And when I asked about that, we don't even really know if it does that. All we really know is we're just basically doing last year's budget. And I just without us digging in more and getting that consensus, I just don't feel like I can vote for the tax increase at this time. You know, I could if I just knew across the board, like, for example, just totaling the surplus properties that we intend to get rid of, that's $1 million of that $3 million right there. The digest increase, that's almost another $1 million. So, I mean, I think we might could get there and ride this wave with good growth, but I think we need to really look at trying to stop the deficit spending.
Any other comments? All those in favor, if you'll raise your hand, please. All those opposed, passes 3-1. This time I entertain a motion to adjourn this call.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? 4. Thank you.